Hello, and welcome to our first episode in our Medieval Dynasty series. Um, Medieval Dynasty is a unique survival game in that it mixes different elements. You have your survival genre, you got a little bit coming from city building, and there are even some RPG elements within this game. So if you're a fan of any of those genres, you'll probably find this game to be interesting, if not enjoyable. Um, the episode today is going to cover the best location in which to build your town. One of the very first questions that you'll kind of come across when you first start this game is where you want to start building your home, your village, your town, and the decision you come to tends to matter perhaps a little bit more than you might first realize. Mostly just because if you choose to build your town in an area that is far away from the resources that you need, you might find that you'll spend most of your time walking around to those locations instead of doing the thing that you want to do. So we have a list of 8 different locations, and those locations cater to farmers and miners and hunters, basically a little bit of something for everyone. So with that in mind, here are 8 best locations to build your town in Medieval Dynasty. Our first location, location number 1, is rather dear and near and dear to my heart, mostly because this is where I tend to build my villages. It is situated about halfway between Denica and Gustovia here. It's really just this whole area right in here. And you can see that, there's a lot of good things about this location just to start off, which is our flat land. You'll come to find that the shape of the land tends to matter a little bit in Medieval Dynasty. If it's a little too slanted, if the slope is too steep, you can run into some building problems. So the fact that this land is very nice and flat, or at the very least has a very gentle slope to it, makes it great for building. Another great thing about this location is that you are right here by this big river. You can drink from it, you can bathe in it, which makes staying clean really easy, especially when you don't have the washing bin. So just having that right there is great. You can always get your fisher's hut there too. Another great aspect about this location is that it is pretty close to all of these towns. Obviously, perhaps a little bit closer to these guys, but you could very easily make a nice big cycle when you're doing your trading, which is important because when you don't have your mount in the early part of the game, all you're walking around is by foot. Now they did recently implement a fast travel mechanic, which is great, but you do have to pay for it, and you're usually pretty poor starting off, so you're going to be doing a lot of walking initially. Just being able to easily get to all these towns relatively easy, like in a day, is pretty ideal. And then you are also about the halfway point between the 2 mines in this map. One of the mines is right here, and then the northern mine is about like in this area somewhere in there. I think it's right there. So that's pretty great too, just in terms of it's not being you're the halfway point. You can go to either without too much fuss. It is a distance, obviously, and on foot it can take a while, but it's a very central location, and it'll cut down a lot on your transport time, which means you have more time to do other things which you will be needing to do. Now, there are a few problems with this area. The first is just this road. It starts off like over here. There we go. And the problem with it is that it cuts into 2 roads here, which means if you're building right here, these 2 roads can kind of pin you down a little bit. So you have to be careful about what buildings you want to put and where. Obviously, you can avoid it entirely if you choose to just build over here. But it's up to you, obviously. But that's just something to keep in mind. Another problem is that there are a lot of these rocky deposits, and You cannot get rid of these. These respawn every season. They're great for getting stone and for limestone, but they do not go bye-bye. So, and you can't build on them. They are kind of like all throughout this area. So you'll find, you know, your building might hit a snag now and then if you need to put it down in like a rocky deposit, basically. So that's just something to keep in mind. With that said, though, I would say this location is just really great for a lot of different players, those who are looking to farm. You know, you have lots of land here that's already cleared. You don't have to clear. You can just put down your plots and start farming. You know, for those who plan on making a pretty big village, you know, you have a lot of space here. Hunters, you can see there's kind of like a moose there in the back. There's lots of big game. There's small game. So you have, you know, plenty of stuff to hunt down. And traders too. You'll find that this place is also ideal just because of its central location that just makes getting around to the different areas a lot faster, a lot easier. So that is our first location, which is kind of like a catch-all, which is pretty awesome. Here we are at location number 2, which is just north of Veronica. I'll just say the great thing about this particular location is its proximity to the North Mine, which is this right over here. So really, this particular location is ideal for those who are either hunters or those who are looking to build more of like a blacksmithy kind of town, I suppose. Just because that mine is right there, easy access, not much of a walk. But here's the location in particular. Obviously, the town of Veronica, whatever it might be, is right over there, which is also ideal for trade. Just jump. There you go. So they're right there, ready to take, you know, your goods, make some coin, right? But this whole area right around here is pretty great for a base, just because there's a lot of, again, flat land. There are plenty of trees to do your building. There is a river right around. I don't know why that wouldn't jump there. Cool. Right around here, which leads in kind of like a swampy area. Now the problem here is that this is not deep water. So if you get dirty and you don't have a washing bin, you're going to have to take the walk all the way down here to the big river to get cleaned up. But just for drinking water, you got that right there. Not a problem at all. Also, there's also a lot of game in this area. There's some rabbits. I think there's some boar deeper in. There are some wolves, which are it could be a problem earlier in the game. But you know, if you're in here for the hunt, maybe you love that. You know, that's totally fine. But just this place is pretty good for I would say, you know, just miners in particular. There are also clay pits not too far. I believe there's some back there that way, and I think there's some further along that way. And clay is pretty important for early production in the workshop. So just having that close by for you to go there yourself and just get a bunch of clay is pretty awesome. So that is this location. Again, like the bad things are primarily just the distance from the deep water and the fact there are a little bit of wolves close by. But that's really it, honestly. Other than that, this is a pretty great location for hunters and miners in particular. But hey, you know, anybody could call this home. That is our second location. Our third location is just a little bit of southeast of Tutki. It's really just kind of like off this road here. As you can see, it's really just straight up wilderness, really. You can kind of, if I turn, there we go, there you go. There's Tutki right there, the road, and really the anything beyond this point you could use to build your village. There are a few reasons why we chose this as a potential village location. The first is that, I mean, look right there, you got a bunch of deer. There's a lot of game in this area, which makes it really ideal for those who are looking to become hunters primarily in their village, like people who are just, you know, they want to hunt, they want to use those animal products to make other products, you know, all that. This place is great for that. There are a lot of trees, obviously, so you don't ever have to worry about, running out of wood for firewood or to build products or buildings and all that. Um, there isn't like a nearby water source. You do have to take a little bit of walk. You can kind of see it back there, though, so it's not like crazy far. But if you need water or you need to take a bath, you're gonna have to take a little hike over that way to get to the water. Um, but beautiful place, really. Um, Another great thing about it is that it is also pretty close to the mine. Again, the mine is like right in this area, so you're over here, right? Just a little bit of a walk, but nothing too crazy. So not too bad for people who are maybe looking to be a hunter and a miner, hunter and a blacksmith. Yeah, you can find some joy here, I would say. But also, it's pretty. It's rather pretty here, I think. Anyway, if you like living in the woods, this is a pretty place for you. Now, there are a few problems. Obviously, we mentioned the water. Speaking of water, there you go. Thank you, game. You read my mind. Um, but there are also a boar in this forest, and early on, boar can be a bit of a problem. They roam in packs, and they hit kind of hard. So when you're just starting out, if you run into those guys, they might give you a bit of a problem. But other than that, this place is really just great for hunters and for miners. And the fact that it is, pretty close to all these little towns here, little villages, makes it pretty ideal for traders, too, just because you have a lot of people that you can then sell your goods to. So that is our third location. We are at the halfway point now with location number 4. Which is really just this whole area right here. You can see that it's a little bit southeast of Denica. And just to find it easily, honestly, it's just right by this big old lake. Now, there is a lot to love about this area. For one, for our farmers, just look at that land right there. It's a lot of nice, open, flat land for your farm. You can even go way over yonder there if you want to. But just having this nice, clear land means, you can spend less time cutting trees down and just, get your plots done and have at it. Start your stuff there. For everybody else, if you want to build within this little forest here, I mean, just it's expansive. You can go pretty deep. You have to obviously cut these trees down, but it's all pretty flat, which is really great for buildings. Now, the primary reason why I chose this, honestly, is just because just look at how pretty that is. That is so picturesque. You just put your house right there and just look at the view. It's lovely, right? Yeah. Anyway, it's beautiful. But there are other things too. We're kind of like getting into the southern not the port, but the part of the map here, which means we are running into more dangerous creatures. So if you are a hunter and you want to hunt some bigger game, this is a really good kind of jumping off point to get to that. That's our friend little rabbit here. And also, there is like a spawn point here for some random stuff that might drop, you just come on, take a little look. Like, look at that, a bronze axe. That's really not bad for starting out, I have to say. And granted, that's not always there, but, there's a chance of that spawning there, which is pretty nice. But, clearly, lots of trees, lots of flat land, lots of clear land, beautiful views. We love it. Now, the problems is that you're not super close to any of the towns. Like, Denica's kind of right there, but you're going to have to, travel quite a distance if you want to get to any of these places on the outer ring here, which can eat into your time when you're out there, carrying your goods, trying to make some coin. It gets a little easier once you have a mount, but, that grind to get to that mount can take a little while. So you'll be on your foot for a good portion of this game. You are kind of close to this mine, which is pretty cool, but again, not like super close. And besides that, there aren't really any accessible clay pits close by. If you do a little bit of searching, maybe you'll find some, but I did not find them in my immediate kind of search of this area. So you have to search a little bit to find some clay. But besides that, really, this place is just beautiful, right? It's just beautiful. So ideal for, I would say, hunters and farmers, not really traders. But hey, if you want to do some fishing or if you just want to build in a really pretty place, this is the location for you, I would say. Here we are at location 5. Now you guys will have to roll with me a little bit on this one. But it's about north of Hornica, a little bit kind of between them, but in the middle, I would suppose. It's a small area, as you can see. Oops, as I fall off a mountain. It's kind of like this whole area over here. Use as you will. I primarily chose this area here for 2 reasons. The first is just this beautiful tree right here. Now, I'm pretty sure this is like an Easter egg, because I haven't really found another tree like this. There might be maybe another one around, but this one is just beautiful, right? I mean, just look at that, like on the cute little creek right there. It's lovely. So if you want to build like a little house, just so you can look at that beautiful tree every day, I mean, I say go for it. I would. That's like kind of the main draw of this particular location, I would say. But the other main reason, really, and perhaps the ideal person for this location is our miners, because the South Mine is really just right here. So really, your base, or your village, quote unquote, is on top of the mine, more or less. Oh, nope, I am not hungry, thank you. So that's really awesome. The fact that that's just right there. You can easily hit that mine up each season, get yourself full of ore, and have at it. Now, that said, those are really the only 2 good things about this particular area. I mean, besides, the easy access to wood and all that. There are some problems. The first is that you are here in the middle of nowhere. You're going to have to take quite a trip to get to any of these towns to, do your trading. So, in terms of trading, it's a little bit difficult here. The other major problem is that mine that's down here is guarded by 2 bears. You kind of have to fight through them to get access to that mine. So you're basically next door neighbors with 2 bears, which is not always great for our beginner people here without any decent weapons or anything like that. So it's a little bit dangerous, certainly. And obviously, this is not the flattest land. It is very rocky, so it's not really great for farming. Building might be a little bit more difficult. So really, this location is really just ideal for somebody who plans on making a small village that is primarily blacksmith focused, I would say. But if you are building in this area, consider just building down there because it's beautiful and lovely. But that is our 5th location. Our 6th location is another kind of smallish area, but with some potential to grow. It's right down here. I'll scroll out so you can see it. It's about the halfway between Jazerica and Hornica down here, right south of this little lake, little pond thing. I have an aerial viewpoint of it. It's just that whole area down there, really. And then obviously you can always expand further that way, yonder, that way if you wish. But I mean, if you really want to, you can probably build maybe your house up here. There's enough space for it, I would say. Just for the view alone, I mean, look at that. That's pretty, right? You got a little waterfall going on over there, the mountains in the distance. It's a gorgeous view up here. But the village proper should be down there. Now I'm going to try and make my way down there without breaking a leg. We'll see if that happens, because that's me for you. But this particular location, it's ideal just because of its flat land, as you can see. Like, it's very flat down here. So farming, building, not a problem. This honestly is pretty good for hunters too, because as you can see, there's a big old Wisent, whatever that is, roaming around. You got your foxes, you got whatever's, I think it's another fox. You got lots of animals around. So if you plan on hunting, this is a great place for you, I would say. You are also close to a good source of water. There's that lake that's just over yonder. So you have your drinking water, your bathing water within close distance, and you can obviously expand through these trees if you need to. Obviously, there's some rocks and some slopes, but you could probably make it work if you finagle it a little bit. Now, the problems with this area is that as lovely as those big guys are for hunters, if you're not really into hunting, they do tend to come up on you. They will run away, but they'll also stand their ground sometimes and kill you really fast. So that's something to keep in mind. That those guys are kind of around. The other kind of main problem is that you really only have 2 trade partners here, Jazerica and Hornica, and even they are kind of far. Which means, you're going to be traveling quite a bit. Like if you have, because these guys, just to clarify here, the traders have, a limited amount of coin. Once you sell, once they give you all their coin, basically, they can't buy anything else from you. And if you still have goods that you need to sell, you got to keep on keeping on. So you're going to have to come all the way up here just to further sell your goods. So the fact that you only have these 2 means, you might only, if you don't plan on going anywhere else, you're only going to be making, so much coin each season, which is not ideal if you want to make money fast, right? So that's a little problematic. You're also pretty far from Gostovia, which is another issue, just because there's a lot of main missions that require you to go to that town. So you're going to have to be like the whole time, right? And you not to mention that, but you're going to be going through bear territory and wolf territory, and it could be a bit of a headache. But if you want to live here in the southern part of the map, which is a little bit more dangerous, I will just mention that. This is a possible location for you. Here we are at our second to last location, location number 7, which is really just this whole area here, honestly. It is northeast of Hornica, right by this big lake. Just zoom out super more so you can see even more. Here we are. And there's a few reasons why I chose this one as a possible location for a town. The first is that, you have this whole area, really. You can use this whole thing for your village. Obviously, you'll have to cut down some trees. But hey, that's just more wood, right? So lots of great stuff. The land is pretty flat. These slopes shouldn't give you too much problems. Obviously, the ones closer to the mountains might. But these ones by themselves should be pretty okay. Now, one thing that I love about this area, again, is just this beautiful lake right here. I mean, hello, it's beautiful, right? If you plan on being like a hunter or a fisher, this is a great place. You can just put your hunter's camp, your fishing camp right around here. If you want to fish yourself, have at it. It's right there. There are there's lots of game here, big game and small game. There's some boar kind of around. So this is great for hunters too. And once you clear out these trees, you can put a farm down pretty easily too. So it's a pretty area in my opinion, and it has a lot to offer as well. Now the problems is that your trading partner is really just Hornica. That's it. It's great for that in that town is right there. But if you want, that's just one town. You're gonna have them spend their coin on you pretty quickly. So you're gonna have to go to you're gonna go all the way over there if you want to further sell your goods. Now eventually you can unlock the market, and that way you can sell your goods passively, which is very, very helpful and lovely and wonderful. But it takes a while to get there. So you're going to be spending a lot of your time walking around trying to sell your goods. And the fact that you can really only Hornica is like right there it makes things a little bit more difficult. It's just going to take more time. The other main problem is that, and this really is just for this whole south part. Like anything that looks brown here really is, in my opinion, a more challenging area. There's bears around, there's wolves, there's boar, there's those big boys around. Like it's dangerous. There's a lot of big game. Again, great for hunters, not great for beginners who are just trying to survive, right? So honestly, I consider this area great for hunters for sure. Maybe for farmers. But really, I would honestly consider this for veteran players of this game who are just looking for something a little bit more challenging. Not for people who want to sleep. But for people who are looking for a little bit more challenge on their next playthrough, this area might give it. I mean, for one, it's beautiful, right? I mean, that's beautiful. I would love to wake up to that every morning. But, you got to watch out for the bears. So, there's a little bit of spice to it. But that is our location number 7. Here we are with our final location, location number 8. Now this one is a little special to me just because this is where I built my very first village when I first played this game. And so I think it's honestly a pretty decent place for someone who's just looking to kind of, dip their toes into the game. Now, this location in particular is really just this whole area right here is, yours to do with it what you will. Now, this is what it looks like. Clearly there are, one of the main problems that I ran into, and you might run into as well, is the slopes. There are some steeper slopes, especially when you kind of look this way, which can make building a little bit more difficult. I certainly had some problems with it myself, but I knew going in that I really wanted to be a farmer in my game. And this land here, this area, is just perfect for farming. There's no trees, it's a gentle slope, so the plots have no problems going down on them or anything like that. So farming is great. And there's obviously also, it's right off the river, also ideal for water, for bathing, all that. Down here is your flatland, so if you want to build buildings, I would suggest going down here. Obviously, there's not a lot of land. So what I ended up doing is I ended up building a few houses over there across the river. You can do that too. Maybe you'll probably be smarter than me and find some way to make it all work. But just this place in general is just obviously big and expansive and wonderful. And another great thing about it is that it's kind of relatively close to these guys, but it's really close to these two, which is awesome. And the fact that it is close to Gostovia, which you'll be going there decently a lot for your main quests, is great. But also, there are a lot of main quests that kind of send you up in this area. And the fact that you're right there in the middle it just makes that a little bit easier, in my opinion anyway. A little less time running to and from, and you can kind of stop off at your village, on the way, and it's all very nice and ideal. Now, the problems with it is obviously, for one, the slope. That could be problematic. It is a little bit distant from the mine, which is over here, and the southern mine, which is all the way down there, right there. So, that's going to be a walk for sure. And trade-wise, you got these guys. This is kind of close, but you got a lot of distance you're going to have to cover to start trading with, over here, or if you want to go down there, down there. So some trade, but a slightly problematic trade too. So with that in mind, I honestly can say that this location here is really just ideal for farmers, in my opinion. It's a really safe place. There aren't any wolves or anything that spawn super close. So again, it's just a safe place to kind of get used to the game, figure out what it is that you want to do, what the game offers, and then you can always just redo and try one of our other locations if you want. Or if you like it, right? I mean, it is a really pretty area. But yeah, that is our final location. All right, that is our 8 best locations for building a town in Medieval Dynasty. If you guys have, if you found a new area, then you're like, this is the best place, by all means, put it in the comments, share it. I know I certainly would like to see it. I would love to know where people are building their villages and what it's all good for and all that. Feel free to put that in the comments. If you prefer to read about stuff and not hear me talk, and I certainly don't blame you if you do, you can head over to our Survival Game Guide blog, where we really just kind of put the same content in text form over yonder. And I will put a link to that in the description. Besides that, if you guys have any questions about Medieval Dynasty or other survival games, put those in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them and make videos and blog posts and all that, just to help you answer those questions and just give you your best time. But other than that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.